how like kind and friendly I am finding the Australians. Maybe it's the Melbourne Australians. But everyone's just been so lovely. It's like, seems like a very like relaxed energy at this con. Everything's going very smooth. At least that's been my experience. I hope it's been yours.
As you said yesterday, you'd like me to deep dive.
Oh, let's go.
So, you started your career as a voice actor in a lovely video game called Detroit. Do you plan on doing voice acting again in the future?
You know, actually, like not to correct the deep dive, but I didn't start my career as a voice actor. No, I'm so sorry. No, I started doing TV and film before that. I actually was my first job was on Veronica Mars. That's okay. And also, like, I don't even consider myself a voice actor because with Detroit, we were doing it, and I think, I could be wrong, but I believe it was the first simultaneous motion capture that was used for video games.
But for season 1, we didn't get to do anything. I couldn't even mention the show. It was all like part of the strike. So conventions have just been so great for me because I got to at least like, you know, nurse the wound a little bit of that by getting to talk to everyone at conventions and hear their stories of like what Star Wars meant to them and why they liked the show and why they didn't like the show sometimes. But yeah, I love conventions. It surprised me because at first I was a little bit intimidated by the thought of what they were, but I really enjoy them. And I love seeing all the art. It's oftentimes the first time I actually see like a piece of merchandise that is of me, like a doll or something or a figurine. Because I don't really get like, Disney's not like emailing me saying, and we're releasing this and this and this and this. I don't really get updated. So it's at conventions that I actually see a lot of this stuff for the first time. So I really like them, yeah.
Hi Natasha.
Hello.
I was wondering if you could give us an insight into how your lightsaber duels are choreographed. And I've also heard that every actor who picks up a lightsaber for the first time makes the sound effects. Were you any different?
I did not make the lightsaber sound effects, but I did do a lot of blaster stuff, like the pew-pews. Yeah, it was a problem. I just, you know, the issue with it is like when I'm doing blaster scenes, there's no recoil. So like with a gun, you can like pretend to do that. But then with a blaster, you're just like this, because there's no recoil. So I was having to like keep up in my head when I was shooting with like pew-pews. So when I had the helmet off, I would try my very best to not do that. But when I had the helmet on, I had free reign. I was just like pew, 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 that guy, pew, pew, pew. You know, it was just helping me like understand all the stunt guys going down and like the rhythm of the scene. And then what was the other part of your question? I can't remember, sorry.
How are the duels choreographed?
Oh yeah, how are they choreographed? Well, season 1, we worked a lot with Minkyu, who's amazing, and then season 2, it was a guy in London, Anton, who's also amazing. These people are just real life Jedis. Like, they have trained their entire lives in various forms of swordplay and martial arts, and we have months of training before we start filming each season. And in that time, we learn the choreography, but also discuss a lot of it and why our character is choosing to engage in this battle or choosing to defend themselves, and it's all very story-driven.
Academy, how was it like to work with Holly Hunter, and do you know why? Was it her decision not to wear footwear in those scenes? or was that something that she was told to do?
I think it was her decision. And Holly is amazing. It's very funny because Holly is a very explorative actress, very you know, she'll start a scene, like we in rehearsals, you know, she'll try a lot of different things, and even when we shoot a scene, she's very, you know, she's really, you know, the acting is the art of reacting. She reacts differently all the time, like exploring where she's going, and her performance is so amazing. But in the beginning, it was a little bit for continuity. They were a little bit like, oh, you know, all right, we got to shoot this now, we got to shoot that now to cover for changes that have happened. I think she kind of figured that out with time. But you know, she's an amazing actress to watch because she doesn't just sit into the character and just leave it, you know what I mean? She's constantly exploring where she can take it, how far she can go. You know, I'm sure she's been walking on those sets and going, I think I'll walk barefoot, see what that feels like, you know? That's a little bit of what that character is, and it's a little bit of her way of finding it. It was really amazing to watch. You know?
The scene that was the hardest to film from any show you've been in?
Well. I had 2 bad experiences in my career, working with people that were not nice. Those were hard to finish the scenes. The scene that was, if I think back in my career, the thing that was the scariest thing I've done was for Resident Evil. There's a scene where I jump out of my character jumps out of a helicopter. So in order to shoot me flying through the air and shooting my guns, they had me being dropped from a...
You lost her.
being dropped from a crane, basically over a cement parking lot, facing the ground and being connected in a wire in the back behind me. So I'm kind of laying down and they drop me every time about, I think we did it between, I don't remember, 15 to 20 times. And it was horrendous. It was awful. I don't like heights. And it was very, 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 very scary.
So the biggest misconception people have about being an actor is?
The biggest misconception about actors is that posing for effect is something that I do when it's truly just me being confused and not sure what the answer is.
Is there any memories that you can share playing against yourself and your twin in Terminator 2 and your time on Chuck?
Any stories about my twin and myself? I think she had no idea what she was signing up for. You know, it was freezing cold in the Kearns factory. I mean, even though it was LA, we're outside of LA, and not the Kearns factory, the steel factory. It was freezing cold. It was a very cold winter, close to Christmas. And, you know, there they are spraying us down with water to make it look like it was really hot there, you know? So physically, I know that it was hard for her. And it was a really lovely bonding experience for her to see that it ain't the glamour that everyone thinks it will be. You know, we were just side by side, and it was lovely to have her there for a minute or two, you know, really great.
Darren, stage right.
Hello, as a young and aspiring filmmaker, I just want to ask, how or what got you into filming, into the filming industry?
Well, as I said, I really did love acting. I mean, as a child, I don't know how much that really follows you into your life, but I did love acting, and I played around with it in high school. I remember being the drama teacher, sort of, not the go-to girl, but I directed a play in high school. But then basically, you know, how I became an actress is that I followed a boyfriend to New York. I mean, it was just like, I was a real country girl. And I was in college and always been an outsider. So here I am in, you know, a lovely little college, but I didn't want to do college theater. I didn't like the whole structure of the professor, you know, having all that power over the actresses in the department. Do you know what I mean? I just sort of felt uncomfortable that you really had to suck up to Tim Mahoney to like be anything in college. So I did community theater, and I just always stepped outside expectations somehow. So I did community theater, and then my boyfriend, a local, a townie, went to New York. He was kind of a trust fund baby, so he had the money to just do whatever he wanted, and never had to make a living at it because he was a trust fund baby. And he went to New York, and I was like, oh, you can do that? Like, and that's literally how it happened. Was like, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that too. And I went to New York, and really, you know, lived with rats and roaches and rubbers, and earned my stripes. And I don't know that I've ever been a particular lover of film, like you might think, or a cinephile. I just love acting. Like, I'm very simple. I want to be on set. Being on set is the happiest day of my life every time I'm on set. So it was just sort of truly just followed a boyfriend to New York. That's the short story.